This video is going to be a little different since I'm going to be talking about some personal things in my life, the state of my channel, the state of YouTube, and content creation in general. You might be wondering why I'm filming like this, as I actually recently had a bad accident, but I also thought I would film this way as a sort of artistic symbolism, depicting the invisible wall between you and the content creators that you idolize or have parasocial relationships with. A visual representation of the boundary that exists between the viewer and the creator, one that not many will be honest enough to tell you about. But I'm willing to break the fourth wall and tell you the truth. For anyone who might be new here, welcome. And to my returning viewers, thank you for your patience since my content hasn't been very consistent lately. I have a medical condition called vasovagal syncope. I fainted while getting my eye checked on after a corneal abrasion triggered by my map-dot fingerprint dystrophy. I fainted in the office at the optometrist/optometrist's office, who moved out of the way as I fell only a foot or so in front of him into the corner of the counter, breaking my tooth off into my lip and being unconscious in a pool of my own blood for 3 minutes. They called a code blue and everything, and my mother took me to the ER next door to check for concussion. What's worse is I had told both him and his assistant that I was feeling dizzy and faint beforehand, to which she responded that she didn't know how to pull the chair back, and he said that the phosphines that I was seeing were in fact shadows of my own blood vessels. Not being able to speak or eat solid foods for over a week is actually nothing compared to not being able to make new content, and therefore put a halt on my ability to subsist. The dental and medical bills from the accidents, of course, range upwards of over $2,000. The hospital refuses to show me the internal incident report from that day, and any legal advice in that regard is appreciated. Not being able to make content has made me a little more creative. Trying to stay consistent in a world ruled by AI algorithms is hard enough to stay relevant, especially when I try my best to make quality content that doesn't rely on lying to my audience for clickbait rage views like so many do, including a certain individual who randomly decided to make me the target of their collective 120,000 subscribers on YouTube.
She's never gonna be successful at what she currently does, and she should honestly just get a normal job. Well, she's probably gonna give up on her morals once again and just open up an off account in a year or two anyway when she's desperate, because there's nothing else left for her.
Because punching down on creators that are smaller than you is easy engagement because they can't fight back, even on intellectual property law and YouTube's policies, including but not limiting to defamation, violation of the fourth fair use factor, undermining the intent of the original work, and then a second video that violates YouTube's policies of brigading and retaliation.
If we get enough people, we can potentially get YouTube to actually act against her. YouTube could potentially permanently ban her.
I recently revamped and re-uploaded one of my best videos to date, Confessions of a Reformed E-Girl, the toxic Twitch to OnlyFans pipeline. It took me many hours to make and I'm very proud of it. Of course, making my past vulnerable to the ire of the internet is something that we all must face as creators, but what I didn't expect is for someone who makes a living on misogynistic rage bait to hate click on my video, twist my words, and frame me as the very opposite of who I am and what I clearly stated in my video.
EllyInVideoland. Woo! Rip, good luck opening an OF account in 2 years. Okay, come on, get to the Amaranth pictures faster. With her lumptious body, 10 out of 10. This is gonna be my thumbnail because I like Amaranth's body, not anything else of her. But I do like the meat suit.
I suppose with his anti-woman takes, turnabout is fair play.
Amaranth is built like a literal goddamn breeding mare. It is what it is, boys.
I recommend you watching my video on what I learned from the movie The Red Pill, by the way. I believe that men are extremely important. My brother is my best friend and an amazing example of positive masculinity, but it's important to call out both sides. And last time I called out the e-girls on OnlyFans and Twitch, and this is similar, but just a different corner of the internet. We have become a dehumanized society that makes every interaction on the internet transactional. Attention is perceived as literal currency. Algorithms promote whatever brain rot captures and retains the most viewers. But unfortunately, people like him find this shallow way of being irrelevant because his small brain has already had the ever so pleasurable taste of exposure that he selfishly craves.
I'm confused slightly about this woman.
A curious case indeed, and there are plenty of sociopathic, narcissistic traits to be found here, not just by the creators, but by the community they foster as well. Having a moderator who is a self-proclaimed playground enthusiast, having members who would be so inappropriate or gang up on someone who's trying to defend their family.
Because never regret the golden rule between heaven and earth. What you are perceived online does not stop when you go offline.
All of the people in his Discord running to his defense proves the parasocial relationship that he has with his audience, that he exploits for money. So he's just an e-girl too, arguably much more of one than I ever was. And as you saw from the conversation, he is unwilling to see my side of things in all of this, and I believe a quick review on the Dark Triad is appropriate for this situation.
The Dark Triad. Machiavellianism. Psychopathy is, well.
The Dark Triad is a psychological theory of personality that describes 3 personality types that are called dark because each is considered to be malevolent in nature. Narcissism, characterized by grandiosity, pride, egotism, and a lack of empathy. Machiavellianism, characterized by manipulativeness, indifference to morality, and a calculated focus on self-interest. And finally, psychopathy, characterized by continuous antisocial behavior, impulsivity, selfishness, or other callous and unemotional traits. I recommend watching my video on the Dark Triad showing itself in video games for a more in-depth look at how the internet can propagate these interpersonal, hostile behaviors in different environments. It's important to note that you are directly correlated to who you spend time with. If you choose to support someone who leeches off of others for their own gain, you will not be challenged in your belief systems and therefore be trapped as just another one of his money farming NPCs and become directly connected to the arbiter of negativity in question by association.
You can be a self-righteous bigot. I mean, I'm literally right here.
Because at the end of the day, you are a number, just another view to be translated into a dollar amount. And from what we learned about e-girls in my last video, that can be referenced here in the same way. Content creators like this don't care to be respected or even understood. They just want to be seen. It's not about being a positive influence anymore. And algorithms even prioritize controversial, shock-based content, not the kind of controversial videos that I make that involve nuance and in-depth provoking ideas and debates. People like him feed into a machine of inauthenticity where an increasing number of people are wanting to be looked at and watched constantly. People with his attitude just wish to go viral, not change the world for the better. And on the subject of algorithms and machines, let's remember that machines do not have human values because they are not human. No sense of morality or second thought about any potential impact, negative or otherwise, a piece of content might have. The blatant hypocrisy of people saying in the comments that, oh, he's just trying to make a living off of my work, yet he's brigading and trying to make them take down my whole channel, which is how I make a living, just because I felt it wasn't fair for him to make money on that video. Obviously, I don't make millions or much money at all. The dumbest part about stuff like this is that narcissists like him will claim that he was attacked when he attacked me in the first place, and I was simply defending myself. People walked away from his content with an incorrect perception of me based on how he presented it, which proves that the video is defamatory.
I thought that everyone loved me. I thought that everything's good, but at one point I understood that I'm a piece of meat and only a piece of meat.
If everything I said wasn't true, then it wouldn't have been reviewed by a human at YouTube and approved. Really, I'm just utilizing the system as intended. The content creator in question, of course, would like to claim that his defamatory actions did nothing of consequence.
Spoiler alert, they always lie!
Even after actively threatening me. But aside from the toxic nature of his audience bleeding into mine and the demonstrably false, deplorable things that have been said about me and my brother, it's no coincidence that the growth of my original video completely flatlined the very same day he made his. These are both proof of negative impact because my video was in the algorithm with generally positive feedback. But of course, he wanted to take any opportunity to steal someone else's work that is doing well for his own clout. I implore you to pause this and take the time to read the whole conversation between him and I, and also the words from my brother who tried to reason with his community in his Discord, motivated only by his own inflated ego.
You're just greedy.
When my brother started making a little too much sense, the content creator in question banned him from the Discord. Perhaps if he had tried speaking with me like an actual human being on the other side of the computer, we would have reached some empathetic understanding on any miscommunications that were had between the two of us, but as you can see, he gaslit me to the very end. It's a strange mix of low IQ and cynical nihilism. He's barely able to understand most of the points I'm making and obviously actively enjoys contributing to toxicity, but I trust tried my best trying to reason with him. He's conceited and justifying using me for money because at his core, that's not just how he sees women, but how he sees everyone. I am deciding to make an example of this, to try to teach any of my viewers some dangerous red flags when it comes to content creators you might be watching, unknowing their actual personality behind the screen or how they treat others who should really be considered fellow collaborators or peers in this space. This brings me to a few questions for you, the viewers. Is it right for creators to actively lie to you, the audience, in order to farm your views for money, reaching for the lowest common denominator, blindly pandering to an audience with a preconceived notion, or stealing from others in order to make a profit off of another person's work? With that in mind, should creators make money off of stealing other people's hard work while defaming them at the same time? If reaction creators are just making a living, then it stands to reason that the original creator would be respected in their attempt to make a living on the work that arguably takes much more time and effort invested to create. Should someone just steal my content and play it on their channel and make full revenue? Think of musical artists. They claim copyright and no one bats an eye because it's expected that those who create that piece of art should keep any revenue made from the work itself, and anyone who critiques such work should have to either share the revenue or give it up entirely. And there is a difference between being critical and being antagonistic. I believe in free speech. If anything, we need to start rethinking copyright in general, so smaller individual creators, like myself, who put their heart and soul into their videos of original work, have more power to truly own their content. The current laws in place really exist to benefit corporations instead of protecting individual creators. What happened to morality? Has our culture on the internet made us morally neutral at best? Have we forgotten that the person on the other side of a screen is in fact a person? Being attacked by someone like this is not easy and very exhausting. After all, I have to deal with in my personal life. My mother having a cancerous brain tumor and twisted arteries keeps me busy, not so concerned with petty drama on the internet when I've already tried to peacefully, privately, and cordially defend myself. But to someone who pumps out low effort clickbait to his echo chamber of degenerates, I surely am just another number to him and an easy target for him to farm engagement. But this isn't really just about one person who targeted me and then cried victim like the leftists he pretends to be above. This is about the facade of being an influencer. As content creators, we are all trapped in an endless loop of feeling irrelevant if people do not consume our content. I have a real life outside of the internet where I have made real change in the world. I have officially already started my career in politics, and I've spoken directly with school boards and city council representatives. I've met some amazing people, and I've tried my best to keep up streaming and a social media presence. It is, of course, difficult to keep track of. I'm an entire team of only myself, but I felt like my subscribers deserved an explanation for my absence and a little update on my channel. The current state of content creation has left me feeling disappointed. In today's social zeitgeist, true kindness is dismissed as fake, authenticity is no longer profitable, and integrity often leads to struggle. It's frustrating to see that our world is so flooded with hollow praise. Good people are often taken advantage of, used as stepping stones by those driven by cruelty and greed. Women are encouraged to be valued by their bodies, while men fall prey to their empty desires of the flesh or become deceitful for what they believe will grant them eventual money and fame, both losing themselves in the process for such fleeting, vapid goals, eventually leaving them all empty, drained, and disconnected. We're living in a cultural landscape where power is bought and sold. Integrity has become a burden, and many, including myself, are paying the price. At the end of the day, I just wanted to say thank you to my supporters, to the people who know and understand my true intentions, the ones who can see through the mask that so many keep on in order to manipulate you. And it's not just on the internet, but we see it in real life too, because our politicians and our celebrities enable this behavior with different levels of propaganda. Honesty is becoming increasingly rare. To truly be good and kind to your core, but honest, is the most rebellious way of being. This culture leads people to becoming entirely self-centered, refusing to participate in anything that doesn't directly benefit them, which in turn leads to self-obsession, loneliness, and a sense of competition. People treat others as expendable objects that are not deserving of kindness or basic human decency. This is the economy of attention, and humans naturally crave attention, which is why so many fall into the addiction of social media, despite it being a threat to their own mental health or even their privacy. I'm an influencer, of course, because I desire to be fully heard, understood, and seen. But people need to understand that this attention and engagement online has become shallow because it's not about comprehension. It's about consumption. With every time someone watches your videos, you can assume that there's an instantaneous judgment that has been made about you. I am only one video in the hundreds or maybe even thousands that they've seen this week. It makes sense that these social media platforms that are visual in nature are highly superficial. This hyper-individualistic society full of people who have nothing to live for but satisfy their own selfish desires, ironically, lose their individuality for groupthink and become the ultimate follower as a cog in the machine of endless shocking clickbait content. I'm happy to have a community of people who can see past this level 1 way of thinking and truly can sense the corruption. It's been a really tough time, and I've been trying to balance both my personal life and the work I love to do here. We deserve influencers who are thoughtful and who put in the effort to create meaningful individual content, not just clickbait and negativity. The way people treat each other online says a lot about the world we're shaping, and it's something we need to think about. It's not just about making content, it's about what content we create. The kind that challenges ideas, that sparks real conversations and debate while listening to both sides. The internet is a space where we all have the power to create change, but it starts with us, standing up for what's right, respecting ourselves and each other. Thank you for sticking with me through all of this and for your patience, and stay tuned for more, because I'm not going anywhere, and my haters sure wish that I would shut up, so till next time.